Hello, and welcome to the Best Football Show. I'm Brian Baldinger at Baldy NFL right there on X, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, across the board. And then you can find this Best Football Show by downloading your free Odyssey app, finding it, liking it, subscribing to it, pushing it out there to the internet world, all that kind of stuff. We call this 3 and Out Thursday. We're here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Thursday, we start week 3. It's 3 and Out Thursday. What I do is I pick 3 games that, look, all these games have value. We're only in September. So I don't want to exclude a lot of teams out there. But I just picked 3 games here for whatever reason. We picked 3 games on 3 and Out Thursday. And then we talk about the Thursday night game, which is Miami and Buffalo. And we'll get to that last. But the first game I want to talk about here, it's a battle for backup quarterbacks right now. And that is Cincinnati with Jake Browning going to Minnesota, coming off a disappointing loss where they lost Aaron Jones and they lost their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. So here comes Carson Wentz. So it's a battle of 2 backup quarterbacks on pretty good teams with good offenses, really, really good offensive personnel. I mean, anybody that watched Jamar Chase play last week, you're like, is there a better receiver in football? I mean, honestly, how do you make anybody out to be better than Jamar? The guy was unreal against Jacksonville. I mean, 14 catches, 17 targets. Like, he catches everything. And nobody, I don't care what you do to him, they can't stop him. So, but regardless, since they won that game, and so they're undefeated, and Jake Browning steps in. And it's unfortunate. Like, this league is driven by great quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow is that. So, and Minnesota has a team that went to the playoffs, won 14 games last year. This was all set up for J.J. McCarthy. He's got an injury. It's interesting because Minnesota traded away their backup quarterback, Sam Howell, to Philadelphia, and they wanted Carson Wentz to be the backup. Now, Carson is a guy that didn't go to training camp, wasn't signed by anybody. They had no offseason, nothing. But if you watch Carson, I mean, this is his 5th team in 5 years now, okay? So he's been in some of these places. Like 2 years ago, he was in San Francisco, and he played Week 18. He was with the Rams. Week 18, they played the 49ers, But he was coached all year by Sean McVay, watched Matt Stafford go about his business. All right, I don't care who you are. You're going to learn from those 2. All right, then, last year, he goes to Kansas City, and there's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, who wouldn't learn from those 2 about how to go about your business? And now he is in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell and a really good team around the quarterback. Even with Aaron Jones going down, Jordan Mason can flat out play. They're going to be fine at running back. Defensively, they gave up a lot last week, which was a little disappointing. But regardless, they're a good football team. I just think, I've known Carson since he came into this business. I've been in NFL films with him, right in the film room with Carson, going through plays and certain things. He's still 6'4", 6'5". He's still 240. He's still fast. He still has a cannon for an arm. He's a cyborg physically. Now, he has gotten himself into trouble. Big trouble in Washington, Indy, some stops along the way. Even in Indy, he was 9-8. But he got himself in trouble because his technique goes to crap. And he needs to be coached hard. And they knew that in Philadelphia. They coached him hard. And he got to that MVP level before the injuries kicked in. So Carson's got the talent. Can Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, a pretty good offensive line, can they really help Carson out? And can he, because everything is there. Now, I think he's always had trouble with some layered throws and forcing some things sometimes, although he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, never has, just doesn't. But I went back and watched him 2 years ago when he was with the Rams. Week 18 against the 49ers. 49ers were playing like they played all their starters. He was going out, it was Nick Bosa coming at him and Fred Warner, the whole group. He brought them, they were down 20-7, brought them back to win the game. Last year, he finished out the season in Kansas City. Kansas City didn't play any other starters. They already had the number 1 seed locked up. Denver played everybody, and so they got after Carson pretty good. But I mean, he wasn't throwing to Travis Kelce and handing it off to Pacheco, none of that stuff. So, but I think I just have this gut that he's going to be good in Minnesota. So here's the question. What if Carson is good? What if he's really good? Like when JJ is healthy, does he go right back in? Or, if he's getting the ball to Justin Jefferson and he's just doing what he does, and, they're going to get Addison back after this week, they start putting their whole offense out there. Like, I'm just curious what the decision is going to be. Ride the hot hand if he gets hot. So there's a lot of things about that game that intrigued me. That's part of it right there. And look, Jake Browning, he threw the interceptions last week, but he also brought him back and they won the game. So he doesn't typically throw 3 interceptions in a game like that, but they still overcame it to win the game. The next game is a game I'm doing on Sunday right here in Philadelphia, right across the Walt Whitman Bridge at Lincoln Financial Field. The Rams come visiting to the Eagles, okay? Both teams are undefeated. They're doing it in different ways. The passing game right now, the Rams, it's unbelievable to me to see Stafford play at the level that he's playing, knowing that all we talked about, the whole preseason was his back. And is it going to be the same guy? No training camp, not throwing many passes in practice. Man, you watch. Now, look, Tennessee is not that big of a challenge, although they've got good corners, really good corners. L'Jarius Sneed's a quality corner. Roger McCreary. I mean, but you watch Nakua and you watch Devontae Adams go to work. I mean, they're pros, really pros. I mean, they could be the best tandem. I don't want to slight Jamar and T and some of these other groups out there, AJ and Devontae, but the timing that Stafford has already with Devontae Adams is amazing. He ran a 20-yard comeback to Devontae last weekend off a 7-step drop. And when he hit his back foot, he let it fly, and Devontae hadn't turned around yet. And when he did, the ball was right here. I mean, it's just like, how did he get that timing with Devontae? He didn't practice, and the timing is there. You see him run these like 7 cuts, and the ball's out of Stafford's hands, and Devontae hasn't made a cut yet. And he looks up, and the ball's right here. Like, it's really pretty amazing to watch. So I say that because I don't think Philadelphia has really been challenged yet. Now, I know CeeDee Lamb dropped a bunch of passes in that first game, and Pickens didn't do much, and Dak didn't play badly, but I don't think this is Stafford with Devontae and Nakua. So they're going to get challenged. Now, the Eagles got Jalen Carter back last week. Za'Darius Smith stepped in, who they just signed, played really well. Like, their front could destroy all of this. Like it did at the very end of the division playoff game last year when the Rams were down on the 11-yard line and Jalen Carter blew up the whole thing. And, they held on to beat the Rams. But the Rams had the momentum in that game. But the Eagles made the plays. I mean, Jalen Carter got a punch out. Jalen Carter got a sack. But I think in this game that Saquon is going to be the difference. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball when he's supposed to, if he's going to get A.J. Brown involved, Devontae involved, get the whole group. I don't know what's going to go on there. I know this. Saquon had 2 great games against the Rams last year. Now, are the Rams a better defense this year? I think they're better at linebacker for sure. They've got better depth in the defensive line. But I am worried about their corners. I'm worried about corners all over the league. Emmanuel Forbes is started as a starting corner. Like, A.J. Brown destroyed him when he was in Washington. Physically, like, Emmanuel Forbes can't stay with A.J. Brown. First of all, there's a size difference. A.J. is 220. Emmanuel Forbes is 170. A.J. is so strong. He knows how to use his body. Like, it just looks like a tremendous mismatch to me. But, Saquon had 2 monster games against the Rams. The Rams, the only 2 losses they've had in the last 10 games up to the Eagles, regular season and postseason. They've beaten everybody else. But Saquon in Kansas City last week, he scored a 13-yard run, untouched. He hit it. They blocked it. But it was only 13 yards, so he got a 13-yard touchdown run. If that was from their own 30, he would have gone 70, because nobody was going to touch him. And so he hasn't had the big run yet. But it's interesting. Last year, he got off to a good start. In the, against Green Bay and Brazil, and then they played Atlanta. He had good numbers, but he didn't have any big runs. And I remember he played New Orleans in the third week of the season. And I was doing the game, and I was talking to him down the field. And he told me, he goes, man, I'm really close, Baldy. Like, if I'm going to break a big one, it's on me. Like, I'm flattening, getting through the hole too fast. And it's giving these safeties angles on me. I got to press the safety more and then bounce it. Well, darn, if the Eagles were getting beat by, 6-0, 7-0 in the fourth quarter, and he went 65 yards off left guard. And he did exactly what he said he's going to do. And I have a feeling like that if the Eagles win this game, Saquon is going to have a monster game. But it should be great. The weather's going to be really good on Sunday. Both teams are undefeated. I think I threw this stat out yesterday's show, but it's worth repeating. There are 7 teams right now that have not turned the ball over, and they are a combined 13-1. The Rams and Eagles are 2 teams that have not turned the ball over. So, and the Eagles basically won the game last week, or at least put the nail in the coffin when Andrew Makuba, intercepted a bobbled ball by Travis Kelce at the goal line, going in to score and take the lead, and it turned the whole game around. Like, when you get 2 really well-coached, well-built teams like the Rams and the Eagles, it could be one turnover can separate and turn the game around. So that's that. And then the other game I want to talk about is Denver at the Chargers. The Chargers played unbelievable football Monday night against the Raiders. Could we be seeing the new West Coast, the AFC West champ in this game? Denver is sick after losing to Indianapolis, but they put themselves in a position to lose to Indianapolis. Like, I know young kid gets called for leverage on a 60-yard field goal that Indianapolis misses, and they get 15 yards and they make the field goal, win the game. They kicked 3 field goals in the second half of that game to win it, 29-28. But Denver should be looking at themselves going, we should never be in that position. Their defense got carved up. I mean, Jonathan Taylor had a huge game, and then Daniel Jones looked like Peyton Manning out there against him. So maybe people were reading, I don't know. Like, Denver did not, defense, I didn't think could give up those kind of yards and those kind of plays. They gave up 3 40-yard pass plays. 3 40-yard pass plays in the first half. If you give up 1 in a game, you're sick. They gave up 3 in 1 half. And then they gave up a 60-yard pass to Jonathan Taylor on a swing route that they completely blew the coverage on. So they did not play good defensively. Meanwhile, the Chargers played great. They kept the Raiders out of the end zone, limited to 3 field goals. And one of the field goals was off of a fumble, and they had good field position. They kicked a field goal. The Chargers defense, even when Khalil Mack went out, was amazing. Geno Smith played the worst game he has played. The worst game he has played since he was a starting quarterback with the Jets. I don't even know how long ago that was. It's over 10 years ago. So, but that's what the Chargers do. I mean, they defended 15 passes in that game. It was Derwin. It was Tarheeb Still. It was, pick a guy. Like, they all had great success in that game defending Geno Smith. And they gave up 1 explosive play the whole day. So the Chargers win this game at home, and Denver has 2 losses, and Kansas City already with 2 losses. I know we're in September, but if you go to 3-0, and the 2 teams that are also competing for that crown have 2 losses, and you've got wins against both those teams, that's like being up 3 games. You got wins against Kansas City and wins, and if they win this Sunday against Denver, you're up 3 games on those 2 teams. Now, there's a lot that can happen, a lot can change, but that's an early lead. Now, it all could change if Denver goes in there and they win. It all can turn around. So that's the challenge. I'm sure Sean Payton is reminding everybody of that. But that's going to be a good game. And the one other thing to really note in last week's Denver's loss to Indianapolis had no fear, showed no fear of going after Patrick Surtain. They went at him with Tyler Warren. They went at him with Michael Pittman. I mean, they completed 3 or 4 balls against man coverage against Patrick Surtain. A lot has to do with the location that Daniel Jones threw these balls with. I mean, they were spot on. All right, that's going to be fun out there at SoFi Stadium on Sunday. And then the final game here to talk about on 3 and Out Thursdays is tonight's Thursday night game. So obviously Buffalo's 2-0 and Miami's 0-2. And Miami has never gone to Buffalo and beaten Josh Allen, including a playoff game up there. Josh Allen owns this team. I think he's 13-2 overall against the Miami Dolphins. So the Dolphins played better on offense last week. Tua played better. They had chances. Like, it was really disappointing. They had the ball at their own 40-yard line with just under 2 minutes to go. They couldn't put a drive together. Back-to-back penalties just killed them. So they didn't execute when they had to execute, the way we saw Baker Mayfield do it or a bunch of other guys in the league. That Tua didn't do it last week. But the guys around him weren't very good. And then defensively, they've got a lot of resources in their defensive line. They're going up against a Buffalo offensive line that's playing great football. And they're running the ball well. They're protecting Josh really well. Same 5 starters as a year ago. It's a challenge right now. If Miami's defensive line, Zach Sealer, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Kenneth Grant, Matt Judon, I mean, just go through Chop Robinson. I mean, they've got a lot of big names, a lot of money, a lot of young players that are supposed to be good. I mean, if they don't get to Josh Allen and affect him, this thing could get ugly up there. And the noise is already loud in Miami, calling for, the general manager and head coach's, head right now. If they lose this game, and they have 3 days to hear all the talk shows talking about the Dolphins 0-3, and they've got this issue and that issue and all this stuff, that could get really, really loud, really fast. The owner came out and made a statement this week. We'll see if he stands behind it. But all of it goes away. It all goes away if Miami could go up there and beat the Bills. One thing I know, the offense in Miami goes through Devon Achane. He is a great player with tremendous speed in all phases, whether it's the receiving game, running. Like, the offense goes through him. Yes, Tyreek needs to make some plays down the field, and so does Waddle. Like, all that, they need that. But when you just want to move the football and sustain drives and keep control of the football, it goes through Achane, and he is truly a difference maker. So we'll see if Devon Achane can make that difference. I know James Cook is from South Florida. He's always good. Him and his brother Dalvin were both really good every time they go down and play in Miami. We'll see if the same thing holds true with Miami comes to Buffalo. Some of those, Florida kids, they just love to go down and play in Florida or play Florida teams. I mean, Emmitt Smith told me that when he was playing with the Cowboys, he went back and played in Tampa one time, and I've never forgotten it. It is true. Anyways, that's 3 and Out Thursdays. Thanks for joining me here, everybody. If we got breaking news for some reason tomorrow, we'll come back here tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you next Tuesday. All right. Enjoy the games, week 3, everybody. Look forward to breaking them down on all my social media platforms and talking to you next week.